Spider-Man, a Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves, or draws a
What's up, casual film peeps? This is Warren, the casual film guy, and today I am reviewing Spider-Man No Way Home. This is actually a spoiler review, so if you haven't seen the movie yet, I advise that you pause this video or put it in your saves list somehow, and then go watch the movie, then come back. I actually saw this movie like 3 times now. This is the third time I've seen it. I actually saw it on twice yesterday, Friday, and once tonight. So today I'm going to talk about spoilers. I'm not going to talk non-spoilery. There are a lot of YouTube videos out there that have non-spoiler videos, and you can totally watch them. I highly recommend, obviously, Chris Stuckman, Jeremy Johns, the big names, Dan Morrell. They're great reviewers. But and there are some spoiler reviews out there now too, since it's been out since Thursday night to the public. But I wanted to do something different than just talk spoilers, because there's no way I will do an effective review without spoiling it. And all the other reviews, they've been vague, and I don't want to add to that. Let's just give you guys my thoughts on the movie based on what I saw, without any compromise, with all the spoilers. So like I said, one more time, this is your last warning. If you haven't seen the movie yet, or if you don't care about spoilers, by all means go ahead and continue watching. But if you do, pause, come back to this after you watch the movie, and then let's go do this spoiler free, or spoiler. I'll take this off, it's too hot. Anyway, before I move forward, I got Invisalign in my mouth. So if you couldn't understand me very well, I apologize. I'm going to have this for 2 years. So hopefully you guys can keep up with that, or put up with that, I should say. And I'm kind of redoing my room right now, my little studio for this channel. So pardon the mess, but let's get on with the review. So like I said, I saw this movie 3 times already. And in all 3 times I've seen it, the same things that I didn't like and the same things that I did like, they're all the same. They haven't changed. If anything, the ones I didn't like, mainly just some of the jokes didn't really hit for me. As all with all movies, with jokes, comedy is really difficult. But with the MCU, they have this formula, this repetitive formula that they use to tell jokes in the most integral, most tension-filled moments. And those moments really piss me off. Whenever they put a joke in there, you get so in tune with it, and you're in the edge of your seat, and then boom, all of a sudden they put an unnecessary joke. I don't know if to ease the tension or something, but that doesn't make sense. I don't know why they do that. It's tension for a reason. So there is some of that here, but thankfully it's not all the entire movie. If anything, most of it is in the first act, which I have the most problem with. The only thing that was really good about the first act was Matt Murdock showing up, Daredevil. So even though there's the rumors of Charlie Cox coming in as the MCU Daredevil, which I'm glad. I really enjoyed the Netflix Daredevil, and fans and myself were wondering if they will continue on, because technically it's still Marvel, but since Netflix doesn't own it anymore, why not? Why not continue with Charlie Cox? Charlie Cox has been a great Daredevil. Why reinvent the wheel, so to speak? But yeah, so Charlie Cox, probably due to popular demand or the worst kept secret, is in this movie for a brief moment. It's definitely a cameo, and yeah, he's here. He didn't show up as Daredevil, but it was enough to just tease you the idea that there is a Daredevil, the Daredevil from the Netflix series, in the MCU as well. So I'm very happy about that. And as far as that's concerned, he didn't obviously come as Daredevil, but he did a Daredevil thing where he caught the brick. Someone threw a brick at the window. This is obviously, I'm jumping around because I'm only going to be spoiling the scenes that are the most impactful, in my opinion. the one that actually really are spoilery that you can't really get away with um, hiding. So yeah, so this came in probably like 10 minutes into the start of the movie, and they're basically talking in the dining room table how to get Peter Parker out of this mess that Mysterio from the last movie got him in, exposing his identity to the world. And pretty much he's his lawyer. I mean, that, like I said, worst kept secret. A lot of people actually kind of hinted into that. That will be his lawyer, but it was very brief. There was no no courtroom scene or anything. Excuse me, no courtroom scene or anything like that. So but it is showing that yeah, he is there. He is his lawyer, just in case I guess in the future if well, that's kind of defeats the purpose. I don't think he'll be using him because in the very end, uh, he had Doctor Strange had to do a forgetting spell again, but this time the very first spell that Peter wanted to do, which is to have everyone forget that he was Spider-Man is Peter Parker, and because of that, uh, he ends up being alone. And yeah, that's like way in the end. Let's try and go in order here. I'm just going because even though third time I've seen this, it's like I'm still like trying to process what I saw because it's actually really intense and really unbelievable. Even the three Spider-Man, I mean, another worst kept secret. There is no doubt that that's why this movie right now, from last I've seen, is making like box office records right now. It's like almost 100 million, if not already 100 million domestic. And that's unheard of and actually pretty impressive for the current condition we're in with the pandemic and all that. So that's very impressive for this movie. And, my theaters and all three times that I've come in, they were packed. I mean, like packed, like every seat was full. The parking lot in the theater was full. People were working. So that's great for theaters. You got people working. I'm sure there were a lot of layoffs during this pandemic. So bravo to finally, be able to have this movie show in the timing where we're just in our lowest, and it shouldn't be I'm not being political here, and I don't want this channel to be a political channel or anything. My beliefs, your beliefs, I respect your beliefs, respect mine, but this whole pandemic thing is BS in my opinion. So the fact that there's a lot of people willing to make that sacrifice, I guess, to watch an MCU movie. That's how powerful MCU movies are, and that's how impactful they are. So I do give them that. Just wish their jokes, in the wrong minute, in the wrong time, just get rid of that. But nevertheless, I'm glad that people came to watch the movie. And I think, personally, I think they probably heard or people spoiled them that the three Spider-Man were going to, or the other two Spider-Man, so the three of them will all be in one movie. And, it's very unbelievable. And, how that, if you think about it, you never would think that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man or even Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man will ever be in the same place, in the same movie with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. And even with the villains, I mean, that's not a spoiler or anything because we see the villains in the trailers. But even that, right? You got Electro, the Lizard, both in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and then you got the Sandman and Dr. Octavius, Dr. Octopus, and the Green Goblin. All three of those in the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. And then you got, I mean, pretty much, come to think of it, yeah, there's none of Tom Holland's enemies were, I mean, Vulture didn't show up. So anyway, that would have been something though, right? If Vulture showed up, or even if Harry Osborn shows up, but I was kind of hoping that Venom, I haven't seen the Let There Be Carnage Venom yet. I don't know why I'm taking my time with that. I don't know why I haven't. Maybe it's just a mood thing. I watch movies. I mean, I'm a casual film guy. I only watch per my mood. So I guess I don't know why I'm not in the mood to watch the second Venom. But I was kind of, what if that Venom showed up too? So I mean, there's two post-credit scenes. So he did show up in the first post credit scene, the right after the credits, the initial credits, but no Venom, just the voice. So just the way to keep the budget, but yeah, he was technically there in that universe, and then he kind of portaled out too because I guess in the second movie he saw Spider-Man in TV. I guess that was a post-credit scene that was spoiled for me, and the spell was to forget Peter Parker was Spider-Man because in the very end, and again I'm jumping around, in the very end, the the spell got out of hand, because Green Goblin blew up that box thing that Doctor Strange had, and that released the spell that he contained earlier in the movie, where they botched it, and thus releasing all these villains and the other two Spider-Men. But so yeah, so it blew up, and Doctor Strange couldn't contain it anymore, and the only way to, I guess, reverse it or make it go away is for Doctor Strange to do the initial spell, which was to forget Peter Parker was Spider-Man. The only thing with that, though, is everybody who ever knew Peter Parker as Spider-Man would forget, like, he ever existed. It wouldn't be like just a couple people that would know his secret or even know that he exists, that Peter Parker is Peter Parker. This is completely like his new identity, like no one knows who he is. And there's rumors that Tom Holland had only like one more movie in in his contract and no new contract. So maybe this is a way for him to get out of being Spider-Man and do something different. I don't know, but it is a way to open up new storylines and new doors. And even with the other Spider-Man coming in, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield coming into this movie, it kind of opened up more possibilities for Sony and Marvel. Well, even Sony and Marvel, their contract is almost going to end as well. So if it's just Sony and if they don't renew their contract, which I also hear that they are not, so it opens up a door for new storylines for this for Spider-Man in the Sony universe. Maybe fix everything that they've done from the Amazing Spider-Man, even in the third Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. I still like the first two Spider-Man more than this. After watching it for a third time, at first it was Spider-Man 2 for Tobey Maguire's, and then it was this movie, and then the first Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Now it's still number 2, Spider-Man 2, and then Spider-Man 1, and then this one. And really, the reason why I say that is because I don't think this movie will be as effective or as hyped or as good even if it wasn't for those other two Spider-Man being in this movie. The villains themselves was enough for it to be just an okay movie. I think that, the beauty about these villains and even the other two Spider-Man being here is that they weren't just cameos, and they were just there for, nostalgic sake or for fan service. They were there and they had a reason to be there, and they were there quite a bit. The villains were actually there after like the first act, and then they were there the rest of the time, and they had something to do. They had motivations why they're there, and they have a reason for being there, and working together to hopefully get them back and into their own universe, but also cure whatever their disease is, which created them. The lizard, if you didn't know, it was Dr. Connor, and he wanted to heal his arm, and in turn, instead became a lizard because lizard had regenerative capabilities. And then, you got Jamie Foxx's character with Electro being the guy that, I guess, in his eyes, no one cared about, no one knew existed. So, and then he fell in a bat of electric eels, whatever, and you know the story. So these are all like villains that are initially inherently good that became bad through some accident or through a way to just make themselves better. And they weren't really evil or born evil, So they were that type of villain. So that's what makes them really special and really good as a villain. But in the end of the day, they are good people. So the idea of this movie, the story behind this movie, inevitably was to try and get them back to their own universe and be back to being human beings. So that was Tom Holland's Spider-Man's motivation, right? Now you got where Doctor Strange comes into play, which in a way I'm glad that it's always great to see Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange in the movie, whether it's just a side character or his own movie. Which on the second post-credit scene, if you stay way long enough after the end of the Sony logo, in the very very end, they will show you Doctor Strange's new next movie in a trailer format. So it is more of a trailer than really a end credit scene. So, and it looks like it's going to be pretty promising. It might even be better than this movie, in my opinion, even though I haven't seen it yet. And even though it's still another year or so whenever that comes out. I think it's next year. But anyway, yeah, so it's always great to see him in that capacity. But I'm also glad that he didn't steal the show. He wasn't really the focus. It's still on Spider-Man. And even with the other two Spider-Man, I'm glad they didn't really pull focus away from Tom Holland's Spider-Man, but even though I think that Tobey Maguire is still the best one, and I don't mind this Tom Holland Spider-Man, but it was, I mean, I'm sure if you guys see this movie or when you've seen it already, your theater probably are cheering or some clapping, maybe not as loud as all three of the theaters or times I've seen this movie. In all different times, everyone was cheering. There's specific moments, like I and a lot of people on YouTube and maybe even you have projected that, that scene where MJ falls off from the scaffolding, that that why am I drawing a blank all of a sudden? That Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was going to save her. Well, Tom Holland did try to save her, and so that scene in the trailer where he's about to reach out for her, they didn't do like a switcheroo like they did with Avengers Infinity Wars, where in the back it was the Hulk when it was someone else. We all thought that, and I thought that would have been Andrew Garfield, but it wasn't. It was really Tom Holland. The only difference is the Goblin's glider slammed into him. So yeah, he wasn't able to save her, but she was still falling. And boom, there goes Andrew Garfield. And the way Andrew Garfield saved her, this time in a way, it's like a redemption, in my opinion. It seems like that because, there wasn't lots that he said, all I can just think of is man, you should have done it this way in the first place, when he tried to save Gwen. He just grabbed onto MJ and then, and landed, boom, with the web. I guess because she was close to him and they weren't that far out. But I don't know. Well, if you don't remember the Amazing Spider-Man, how Gwen died, he snapped her back, by accident by shooting a web to her to grab onto her. And the force, I guess, just snapped her back. But anyway, so that was very satisfying. Andrew Garfield in this movie actually, I think, stole the show for me. I mean, it's great to see Toby. I haven't seen him in a lot of movies ever since, I guess, that chess movie. I couldn't remember what the movie is, but that was years ago. And, I mean, he's older, definitely, in this movie. And I thought they were going to do some de-aging like they did with Alfred Molina in as Doc Ock. And, excuse me. So I'm kind of glad they didn't because they kind of addressed that. Why he's a little older. I mean, they even said he all grew up, and I guess time has passed, which I guess doesn't even make sense because if Doc Ock was transported from the moment that he was about to die in Spider-Man, the Spider-Man 2, how is it that the Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, is older? So that's one of those plot holes, I guess. So, like I said, he could have done a de-aging. I thought they were going to do that. Maybe Toby didn't want that or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, so what? Right? It's fan service. It's nostalgia. Came in the right time. They executed perfectly. I think I was. If you saw my breakdown of this movie or of the trailer, I all my predictions, they were wrong. I thought that, I mean, except for the fact that I think I did say that Andrew Garfield was going to save MJ, but that was kind of like a given. I think that's a good redemption for him, and I think that people saw that coming. But with Toby and even Andrew, the way they came in, I thought they were going to be the very last act of the movie, and the way they came in, with Ned, Jacob Batalon's Ned, the way he accidentally let them in by using the portal ring that he stole from that Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man gave to him after his fight with Doctor Strange, and accidentally got the first one in, which was Andrew Garfield, and then Tobey Maguire. Um, it was actually very seamless. I like how they did that. That's actually unexpected, in my opinion. So I like that. That was a surprise still, even though I thought that, yeah, I mean, we all knew that they were going to be there. And like was going to say earlier, is really, I think this movie wouldn't make the money it is now making because if there wasn't any Tobey Maguire or Andrew Garfield Spider-Man. I mean, I could be wrong, obviously, but I think, that's the case here. But anyway, yeah, so yeah, this review, like I said, all over the place. My apologies. I'm trying to process as I go here, and but in the end of the day, I really, really enjoy this movie. It is the third best Spider-Man movie overall, in my opinion. The best Spider-Man MCU movie overall, and there's not that many. It's only three of them, and the cameo in Civil War, so not really that many. But it is the best MCU Spider-Man, and this is the third best Spider-Man overall, with the Sony and the MCU Spider-Man put together. So, yeah, I mean, and then obviously, and Aunt May died. I mean, saw that coming. She said the line, "With great power comes great responsibility." So instead of Uncle Ben, it's Aunt May. So it's pretty. In a way, this is like this 3-story arc of Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man is like his origin story. I guess it would have been something that, if Zack Snyder were to make a Man of Steel 2 and even the 3. A lot of people didn't like Man of Steel. I love Man of Steel. I think it's one of the best Superman movies. And I think he had a plan there, a whole big story arc. And people hated that idea and didn't want him to be the Boy Scout Superman they all knew. Well, some people didn't like the Tom Holland version of in Homecoming and Far From Home. I thought it was okay, but that Peter Parker, in a way, it's just like his art, because in the end of this movie he changed his suit once again. No more tech. It's all just normal Spider-Man, and with the world not knowing who he is, in a way, he's back to being alone, like I guess what we knew as Peter Parker is. I guess I don't know how they're gonna go about it. Maybe he's gonna get a job at the Daily Bugle as a photographer. So they haven't explored that yet, but I'm sure that might be coming if they do decide to make another Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland. But like I said, I don't know how that'll be with his contract and if he's even wanting to play Spider-Man again. But nevertheless, there's a lot of possibilities. I think that's one of the best things about this movie in particular, is that there'll be a lot of possibilities and a lot of kind of way to reset what was made a mistake with Sony and even in Marvel, and do something new, do something different, and hopefully be in a better direction. I think this movie kind of made that segue into that. So bravo to both Sony and Marvel. Bravo to all the actors and all the producers of this movie, the director, everyone involved in the movie. You guys did great, and give you guys 2 thumbs up, I guess. I haven't decided on a grading scale yet. I probably won't do that. But I just wanted to give you guys my thoughts. Like I said, my apologies for it being all over the place. But, I mean, it is a great movie. I think it's just not as good as Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 1, in my opinion. But it is a great Spider-Man MCU movie. And the best MCU movie so far since Endgame. They released Shang-Chi and Eternals and all that, and a few MCU TV shows, which I am gonna go and watch now Hawkeye season 5 or episode 5. So, but still, this is the best that they've created. So, looking forward to Doctor Strange 2. So I think that's the next one. But definitely go out and watch this, support the movie. I know it's making bank right now, and I think it will blow records. But continue to support it, watch it. And if you love it, let me know in the comments. If you don't, let me know in the comments below as well. And as always, thanks for watching. And until the next video, stay casual. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. It's all over the place, but I hope you like it. And subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Stay casual. Bye-bye.